So I'm also going to be removing this cover right here. Makes it easier to get inside there. And I'm also going to remove the front cover as well. It just gives me more room to work with tools. So it's just a screw on the top, 2 screws, and then you slide it out. They're tucked in with these little metal clips right here. So pretty easy to take out and easy to put back in. I've taken the battery off, moved it out of the way, laid my stair climber down on a table so I can work on it easier. You'll want to do the same thing. And here's what I was talking about. Here's your bolt on the outside. Here's your bolt on the inside. This nut here, you don't want to loosen that. You don't need to. That is to stop the big screw here from going in far and going in too far. So that's a little bit farther than what I need. I'll probably move that back in a little bit more, but it's just to allow the wheel to freely rotate. But as you can see on the inside here, you got this right here, this space right here. That's where that screw comes through. You can see, I'm trying to get you in here, on the inside, this is that bolt coming through. So what I want to do is I want to get it past this plate, this plate here, and stop just inside of this black one. I don't want to pull it all the way out. It's just, we don't need to. So just keep that in mind. That's all we're going to do with it. All right, so those bolts, as you can see, are through the holes. So that's what we wanted, through those holes. And the wrench to use on this right here is a 15 by 16. So that's what I use to take those bolts off. So next, we want to take these 2 bolts out here on each side. Okay, so those 4 bolts are out. Now I used a 7/16 socket to take those out. As you can see, they're now freed up. That frees this whole section up to basically pull out. See that? It lifts out. So I'm going to lift it out and I'll be right to you. You see the gearbox is lifted out and I just swung it over and laid it on top of the stair climber. Now here's your glide belt. So you got a nut out here and you got a bolt over here on this side. So you remove those 2 bolts and those 2 nuts, and then we put our new ones back in. Okay, I've got a 3/8 inch, that's the one right here. So what I want to do is loosen that up. I'll be right back with you. Next, you want to tap this out. So that's loosening up there. So that's what it looks like when that's tapped out of there. Just take that off, and that frees up the motor. You can remove the serpentine belt here, like that. Okay. Next, we want to remove this nut off of here and take this screw out. So with the nut out, that motor just pulls right out. Basically, this screw is what's holding it in here. And they give you a new screw with the new motor, so you won't be needing that one. Next, we'll just come in and we'll undo our ground wire right there, and then that'll be the end of the motor removal. Here's the new motor and the old motor. So the new motor never comes with the pulley on it, so you're gonna have to remove that pulley, this pulley right here for the serpentine belt to fit on it. And we'll also remove this, and we'll put this back on, which was on the other one. So here we are. You can see I've got the new pulley back on there, or the old pulley on there. So the next thing to do is to take this piece here off and fit this one back on. We'll put that one back on after we actually mount the motor. But we will go ahead and get this mounted. See, it came with that extra screw right there, the long one. So we'll take that out and we'll put it in and have this all set up, and we'll be right back. I've got the motor back on. I got that screw in. Now I ended up keeping this rubber piece this time. I actually put this nut too tight for me to take out. But if you put that over the screw first before you put this in, it should be pretty simple for you. The next thing you want to do before you tighten anything up is to get your serpentine belt on. Basically, it just goes around this pulley right here, and then right around this pulley in the back here. See, now sometimes you have to use a screwdriver to actually get it to attach all the way. But I'll get that on there real quick and I'll be right back. All right, so what I ended up having to do was take these needle nose pliers and squeeze that together and pull that motor towards that nut in order to make that pulley close enough to fit that belt over the end of it. There you go, the new belt is attached. So what you want to do is tighten this screw all the way up to pull some tension. You want a lot of tension on that belt. So that's what's happening next. So as you can see now, this belt, that's tight enough right there. It's perfect. It's not on that bar right there. It's perfect. I've got my ground wire already screwed back to the base. So next all we really need to do is just attach these two wires right here for the switch to go to the motor, and then we'll reassemble that back together. Next thing you want to do is they send a zip tie in the package with this motor. So you'll want to zip tie those wires together right here. That'll get them out of the way of everything that moves. So I've got the gearbox put back to where it belongs. Now what you want to do and how I do it is I get one thing started. I get my one bolt right here, started through the hole. This one is not. Come up here and I get one screw in right there, this one. Then I'm going to get one over here in this corner. Then I'm going to get this down here in. Then I'm going to come back and put these two back ones in so that they all line up easily. Now you can see I got all four of them started. Like that. Both of these are through the holes, right here, and right there. So next we're going to tighten everything up. So that's it right there. You can see my bolts are tightened. My bolts are tightened, my wheels, they spin. They're not dragging. So the next thing to do, check your motor or your belt. So if your motor is pulling down on you, whenever you're pulling it, that's a good sign you need to either tighten the belt, the serpentine belt, or replace it if it stops tightening. And that's what really happens to people as you tighten them so much with this nut right here. Anytime it's loose, you tighten that back up. Eventually, it just won't tighten up, and then you have to replace the belt, or it'll break on you sometime. Anyway, I'm going to put this back together, and I'll be back with you in a minute. All right, guys, everything's all buttoned back up again. I put a new battery on it. New battery just needs to be charged, but everything's working. So let's get it plugged in and charged.